We're going to talk about Dean Malenko. Now, Dean most recently has been working in AEW as a backstage producer, and he has undergone, according to Jim Ross, successful surgery. So, Jim Ross recently made mention on his podcast that Dean Malenko recently had brain surgery to help improve his day-to-day life. This is the quote: "I saw Dean Malenko. Malenko's had some health issues. I saw him there. And he had brain surgery, and it stops his shakes from the Parkinson's, and it has..." This is a quote. He's had the surgery. He's such a sweetheart of a guy. So I didn't realise you could have brain surgery to alleviate symptoms of Parkinson's. So we obviously know about the shakes. What else about Parkinson's is characteristic of that disease?
Once your muscles begin to tire, which is quite frequently because they're always active, you can get really horrible spasms. The tick and the flailing types of things, the uncontrolled, the loss of control over muscular contraction. I'm not saying this is what he had done. I'm guessing the last that I recall in my studies, they could go in and put an electrode in, do a deep brain stimulation, and to the cerebral cortex, to the center of the brain, and that sort of rewires it a hair and knocks it down. If that's, I take Jim Ross at his word and what he's talking about, and I'm really happy to hear that for Dean. You don't want to see anybody have to endure, these horrific things like that. And Dean is much quicker witted than I am, and so it was always fun to be around because he always, just makes something. You had to listen closely. He might hit you with a zinger if you weren't paying attention. And Francine and I were together at the ECW arena with the pandemic a year or two ago, and Dean was there, and he was having a rough time that day, but still sharp as a tack. He's one of those guys that hears a joke and he can tell 10,000 more. I can't remember a joke to save my life, and you'd have to always listen because he was always just going and going and going. But I'm really happy to hear that for him because again, like that's As we age, I can tell you, I'm starting to realize more of my dad's words that tell to get old. And I used to Cavaliers say, "It's better than dying young, Dad." The alternative. But you start to learn. Thinking, "Oh, this ache in my back, where'd that come from? Oh, my knee hurts." These little aches and pains, things that are just part of it, or that, like this, like a really life-altering type of thing. So, and I'm guessing that from the time that I was studying and prepping for med school, that they've probably come up with a world more of therapies and therapeutics for that. So I have to give him a call. I didn't know that he had that. I'll check in with him and let our fans know because he good guy and he's been one of those guys that's been around in the backstage areas like WWF, WWE, short while WCW, now AEW. Glad to hear from Dean. Reach out to him and find out. For hell of a nice New Year's present.
Yes, Ross also further added, so if you can add to this, Dean is one of those unsung guys that's such an MVP at AEW because of his guidance, his coaching. He encourages the talents to bring with them to him what they want to do, and then he helps them. He contributes. It's teaching. All that is coaching, and he's really, really good at it.
Nice.
Sound right?
Yeah. Excellent. Good to hear. It's again, I'm sure there's so many people in those dressing rooms, right? And we come on here and we talk about in a span of time. But I can't even begin to imagine even having a career if I hadn't had all of those people, not just the guy that trained us, but all those people that were impactful. I learned stuff even now getting in the ring. I still learn things on a nightly basis, and that, for me, that's I need to intellectually stimulate myself. I can't just, let's just go out there and paint by color or paint by number. I want to learn. I'm always looking for new stuff. I'm constantly reading and digging into different things. That's what keeps my brain active and keeps it from being ho-hum, just another day. And those guys, the stories they can tell and probably do tell, in Dean's case, he's a pretty big storyteller. But there's a lot to be learned and weaned from those guys. Really is.